Hey, I've been working on some different things. We went camping over the weekend, and I'd kind of finished this before I left, and working on some other things now, but this is a super fun one. Wanted to get back to some travel. I had gotten these really great, they're actually the drawer pulls, but I just thought they were really great. So real travel one, pretty darn big actually. Stuffed. You can take lots of it out. And you'd have plenty of room. So this one is a women's traveler's journal, and using the Tim Holtz, I did some sewing on the vintage postcards, series of those, and sort of traveling through the United States. And then travel photos, vintage photographs of women, and vintage postcards. This was really interesting. It's in the Yellowstone Park, and it's from 1957, I think. So there's a series of postcards. She starts in the United States and travels over to Europe, and then there's just a series of postcards that I sewed onto as well. So again, we are in the United States. There's some pictures, slides. And here she is at a waterfall. Oh, there's some other papers in here, sorry. There's a bunch of stuff in here. And then I did make some pockets with maps, and so there's just some vintage or some tea-dyed index cards for taking notes and things like that. And then papers for journaling, so there's some pages of that, and lots of vintage book pages with different languages. But there's definitely space for adding your own travel notes and tucking in your own travel information. Two pages here. Okey-doke. And we had these postcards, and I think they're really great, so I just included those. They're not vintage, but just wanted to include those in for traveling. And again, lots of pockets in here. And it's Tim Holtz pattern paper, some Greek, traveling to Greece, an envelope, another postcard, and here she is getting in her car packed. So I have a series of vintage photographs in here. It's a nice little collection. And here we are in Milwaukee, and here is a card in German, and here's another postcard with some sewing, but it's a vintage postcard, but we're in Florida. And some vintage map information, visiting through New York. And then into Canada, we're in Niagara Falls, still traveling through. I don't know why I just got a kick out of sort of the idea of someone traveling through. Now, my mom actually had traveled through the United States, and my mom's from Berlin, so maybe it kind of reminded me of her. But this is the Florida skyline at night, from a 1963 postcard. I'm actually going to tuck that behind there. And in Montreal, Canada. So that ticket took us across the border. And then some Japanese language, dictionary, paper from a tiny guidebook. And we're in Puerto Rico. And thought that was a nice photo for that. And then here we are. There's some Italian ordering food, and some tickets, and some more vintage photographs. This is actually, next page, I guess. This is a vintage card. 1 cent. And this paper is from a dictionary. From an atlas, and there was some pictures of the Earth's minerals, and so this is a large sort of pocket that tucks in, and some more. Now we're in Italy, and there's some Italian food descriptions and a little vintage photograph. I don't know what she's holding. 1927. Some language letters. 1944. So this is, I love all the different pictures of women. Just super fun. Geneva. And then some friends. And then in Rome. And this is also Italian opera quarter in Rome. I mean in Italy. And then there's the other side of that mineral. And I thought we'd go to a museum and visit some, this is in Germany, in Augsburg. And there we are. And there's just so many churches in Europe. And the threads I left long, so you can cut those off if you want to. And then a letter. But also there are boats that you can take between Greece and Italy, so there's some travels there. And I thought this was pretty lovely. This is in Holland, the Dutch tulips. And some more paper about Italy. Here's some Japanese dictionary again. A beautiful woman. More churches, because there's an awful lot of those. So, enjoying the sun, the travels this summer. And in France. And then I just tucked in a few sort of bits. These from Italy. Another photograph, some tickets. Different language. Another atlas page, that's sort of a double pocket. More German letters. This is local. Most of churches. Gotta love it. Lots of churches in Europe. And then we were at the beach. And some German vintage book pages. These are kind of all my favorites. Maps in different language, vintage book pages, and lots of pockets. And we're back at a waterfall. Nature's a good thing. And back of a postcard. we end in Paris. I thought that would be the most fun. The best place to end. This is a vintage card. And having a summer fun. So that is her trip. Well, it's a group of women traveling, and I love how they all stick out. That's kind of my favorite part. And thanks so much. Hope you enjoy.